So in 2025, I was laid off from my job, but I was able to make an additional $100,000 from the markets. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that, laying out what worked for me, what structure I use, and what that strategy was. So stay tuned because this is going to be an amazing video. And if you don't know who I am, my name is LaKiesha. I have been trading the markets for years. And so far, I have made over $350,000 from the markets while working full time, working crazy jobs. And I do these videos because I know that other people can do it too, no matter how crazy their schedules are. So if you are new here, I want you to like and subscribe to this channel and like this video so that way you don't miss any of the amazing videos that I post on this channel. So let's go ahead and get started. This video is going to be a little bit different from some of the other videos that I have made before. And I have my notes over here. So if you see me looking over, I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything because this is such a cool video and I am excited to tell you about it. And we're going to be drawing. You can see all the different ways I know how to say hello. I know how to say konnichiwa, but I don't know how to write that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and show you exactly what kicked all of this off. And before we get started into that, if you are new to trading and you are looking to learn how to trade in 30 days or less, then go ahead and go to thetradinglaunchpad.com. It is a beginner-friendly program in order to help you understand how to trade. And this is a really cool program. A lot of people start off with this program sometimes, or they jump right into the Profitable Traders Academy. This is my flagship program where I spend so much time with you, helping you understand the markets and just become a better and profitable trader. So you can find that at LaKieshaTrades.com. And I really hope to see you there. So let's go ahead and start with what kicked all of this off. So I don't know why I did that. I literally had all of this set up beforehand so we could just roll through it. But here's my LinkedIn. And I posted this story on LinkedIn where basically I talk about how I was laid off from my job in July 2025, like so many people. But the difference was I was quietly building money on the side. And I didn't do the math until the end of the year. So this article came out about 3 weeks ago from the moment I am recording this. So roughly midway through December, I had looked at my account. I realized that it has grown, at least one of my largest accounts, it has grown. And I was just like, what happened? Because I do these videos, I talk about trading all the time on this channel. And I'm just like, I don't know, what was the process? I was just doing my thing, and I'm going to show you exactly what that thing was. So I posted this on LinkedIn, and I give you the whole story. So you can go ahead and find me. This is my name on LinkedIn, follow, connect, all of those good things. But definitely read this article. So many people got so much from it. And you can see the title. It says, "A Second Income Saved Me During My Layoff. Here's how I made 106,000 blah, blah, blah on the side." And people are like, what? And yeah, so I mean, if you've been following this channel, you know I've been talking about the markets for years. So it's nothing new to you. But if you're new here, then you're probably like, okay, I need to listen to her. Yes, you do. Okay, so anyway, so go ahead and check this out. You can see that over 53,000 people saw this. A lot of people liked it, comment, and all of that. So anyway, so go ahead and check that out. But let's just go ahead and get into some of the strategies, some of the things that helped me get to that point inside of the markets. Yes, I knew how to trade. I mean, I make these videos, of course, that's one piece of it. But one thing I want you to understand, and I'm going to my notes so I make sure I don't miss anything. But one thing I want you to understand is that a lot of times when it comes to trading, it's not about having these large dramatic wins, because a lot of the wins that I had inside of the market, they were not huge wins. It was like $1,000 here, a couple $1,000 here, 5,000 here. So for some of you, that may seem like a really large number. And I know it was for me at one point in time, and it still is. I mean, I still want to make those numbers and I want to make more. But it's not about having the massive wins like you may see here on YouTube or other places. It's about those small, consistent wins. And when you think about it, this is over the course of 12 months. Some people are making that in a day, which is amazing. I want to get to that. But it shows you that you can just have these small wins along the way in order to be able to gain, a nice size amount of money in order to sustain you if life happens, like getting laid off or something like that. So that's one thing. So, and one other thing I wanted to point out with this is a lot of people get into trading for excitement. So, trading should be boring. It really should be boring. And that's part of the reason how I was able to trade and do that with a full-time job. If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see all my jobs. I've had some very demanding jobs. And the thing about it is that, I'm working in leadership positions. I have an engineering background. I went to Ivy League MBA program. I went to Yale. And I've done all these really cool things. And when you do things like that, the expectations of you tend to be higher. So it means that, I was working later than, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever, some days. It wasn't all the time, but, at times it was very demanding. But I really enjoyed my career and the things that I was doing. So it wasn't really a big deal. And the fact that I had this demanding role and I wanted to have some sort of life outside of that, and then a life outside of doing these YouTube videos and running this company on the side that I've been doing for almost 10 years now, which is crazy to say. But doing all these different things, it required me to trade differently from what people may see here on YouTube. And I think that's why my message and everything that I do resonates with so many people, because I'm not doing the typical things and I'm structuring all of this around a real life and just making sure that I'm able to live my real life. And okay, sorry about that. I had to really do that. But anyway, but I'm able to live my real life and I'm also able to trade and make a nice chunk of change. And, 106K is some people's full salaries for the entire year. I know it was mine at one point. My first six figures as far as the annual salary was $109,000, and that was almost 10 years ago, and I was super excited about that. So anyway, so that's another thing. So the next thing I want you to understand is that every time I took a trade, there was a filter that I had in place before I put on a trade. Now, I'm not saying that every trade that I took was a winning trade or gaining trade, however you want to say it, because I don't really look at win rate. I used to in the beginning because I thought that it was the most important thing. Let me make this a little bit bigger, but I thought it was the most important thing. But I know now that it's not, and it's okay. And, for, my style of trading, win rate doesn't matter. It's, am I bringing in money? Am I adding a balance, to the accounts, because I trade in a couple different accounts. So that is important. So the filter is basically, for me, it's understanding what I'm looking at, or understanding which markets I want to trade and understanding what those price levels are. So let me just give you an example. Let me turn back on my iPad. Okay. Oh, I went to a different thing. Let's just roll with this. Okay. So anyway, so this filter. Okay, my handwriting is gonna be a little weird because this is my first time using this kind of setup, so we're just gonna roll with it. So the filter I used to use, so I want to know first, what am I trading? Several filters here. What am I trading? So a lot of times for me, it was trading XAU USD, which is also known as gold. For me, it was also trading markets that people don't really talk about on YouTube. I know that I don't, but it's been one of my favorite companies to trade. And of course, none of this is financial advice whatsoever. It is just my own experience and things that I have done inside of the market. So the other one is X or AXP. I can't talk. And this is American Express, Amex. I love that company. And then other things that I traded was, of course, we're going to make this a little shorter, but tech. So tech for me, that at times was Apple, Amazon, Amazon. What else did I trade? Oh yeah, Palantir, PLTR. And I've been trading these companies for a while, so I'm able to just do the ticker symbol and know exactly what it is, or sometimes I will reference the company by its ticker symbol and not write it all out. So anyway, Palantir, Nvidia, NVDA. What else did I trade? I didn't really take any Tesla trades, even though I am going to look into that more this year. Now that I have a larger account, let's see what else. Oh yeah, I made a little bit of money on Meta. I did have a big loss on that. Well, not like a big loss. It wiped out most of the gains, but Meta was one, and I feel like I'm missing one. But anyway, tech, and then also just like the financial sector. Okay, financial, and then of course that was AXP, American Express, but then also Goldman Sachs. So that was really cool. And then also going back to gold, in the like regular stock market, there's GLD, which is basically a gold equivalent. So I know sometimes trying to trade this thing right here is pretty tough, especially when you're trying to look for a broker and there's nothing but offshore brokers and it's a little sketchy. So anyway, so GLD has worked for me. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the strategy shortly, but I just want to give you an overview of, this is the first filter. What am I trading? So here is all the different options in terms of things that I have been trading or want to trade. So they're not making this easy for me. But anyway, okay. I don't know where this is acting crazy. Anyway, so let's just go ahead and get rid of a lot of this. Um, okay, great. So these are like just the different companies and all the different things that I was trading. There were some other ones, but basically my companies were tech companies or financial companies. Sometimes energy, but not really. This year I am looking more into that. Okay, cool. So my second filter here. Oops, go back to the pen. Second filter. Let me make sure I don't skip any steps. Um, okay, yeah. Okay, second filter was after I understood what I was trading, what price levels am I looking at? So what price, and I say this because, and this is kind of get into the strategy, but basically, what price is or was important to me and still is, because sometimes I didn't have time to look at like a candle formation or something like that, and then enter the trade. A lot of times it was just based off of like, okay, it's now at $52.47. Okay, I'm entering the trade because I didn't have time to look at it. So I wanted to be able to understand what price I was looking at, and then next, another thing was after, or actually, did I get in or not? So basically, I would do limit orders. And then sometimes it was market execution. So basically, limit order is where I set some sort of price. That's why I wanted to know what price I was entering at. And then sometimes, if I was able to look at the market at that particular time, I would do a market execution. And usually I was able to do that if I set an alert. So you can set price alerts depending on your broker. That's basically the place where you buy and trade, or buy and sell and trade. Sometimes you can use software like TradingView, like you have seen me use a gazillion times here on the channel. So that was another way. So pretty much like this is basically like some filters that I use in terms of entering the market. And let me get rid of that. So oops. So entering the market. And then let's see what else. And then that was pretty much it for the big filters in terms of me entering the market. So another thing I did, make sure I get all the steps here. Mm. And here's another filter that I used. Oops. Okay, come on. So anyway, so the other filter that I used was basically knowing when not to trade. So a lot of times if I felt rushed, like I didn't, like for instance, I would have a like window in the mornings. Sometimes this was like when my job was a little bit different, but in the mornings, but other times it was evenings where I would have like maybe like an hour, hour and a half or something like that to trade the markets, and then I would do that. And then that worked for me a lot. So I would have this window, and basically if I felt rushed, that was a no for me. I was not sitting and looking at the market. That was another thing. And then two, this was especially in the mornings. So and then in the evenings, a lot of times I would use this time to plan. my trades. And then my other window at times was the weekends. Yeah, so I had to, like, really be intentional about my time just because I was so busy, I was doing all these other things. So that was, like, another filter that I used, like, what time do I actually have to actually look at the markets, maybe take a trade in a live market or maybe set up a limit order or something like that. So basically, in order for you to get started with this, I know I laid out a few steps already, but in order to apply some of these things, I'm going to give you some other steps that you could take. So I want to also oops, talk about the way that I or what I use in order to trade. So when I trade XAU USD slash gold, so basically, that's the forex market. So I did that, but it wasn't the biggest thing that contributed to the 100K. So the biggest thing that contributed to the 100K was actually using options, and basically I would use something called leaps. So leaps are basically just long dated options. You may hold that. So a lot of people have definitions, but basically a leap is anything greater than a year. So let's just say today when I'm recording this, it's January and I want to hold it from January 2026 all the way to January 2027. That's going to be a leap. Sometimes people count 9 months out. So from January to September, that's roughly a leap. And it doesn't matter what the name is. So there's a whole bunch of reasons for doing that. But I like to use leaps because a lot of times I didn't have time uh, to really look at the market because I was busy, I was doing other stuff, I was working. So I liked leaps because in case the trade did not go my way and I still believed in the direction of the trade, then I had time on my side in order to be able to let that trade play out fully. There were some trades where it took 4 months for it to fully play out. Like it would do something like this. Like it would do this and then go like this. I would enter the trade and then like, oh yeah, it's about to do this. Nope. Price would do this, and then it'll do that later. So that was kind of annoying, but it's just part of the market. But basically, I love leaps because it gave me a lot of time. I didn't have to look at it 24/7. Like for instance, if I was trading XAU USD, for those of you who do trade this market or at least know that market, you know that it can be quite crazy. So I didn't want to necessarily do that. So that's why I use options, specifically leaps. And like I said, I traded all those different markets that I talked about before. But one of the biggest things in order to be able to trade the gold market in options was trading. Oops, why does it keep doing this? Trading GLD. So this is the ticker symbol for gold inside of the regular stock market. And basically, you can have one contract. One contract is roughly equivalent to a zero point 0.1 lot in the forex market. So that was like once I learned about that, did a little research and all that, go to this YouTube channel and just search options. Like right there. Oh, I can draw on that. Cool. Options, and basically you will see a couple of different videos here. I even have a playlist here of more videos that you can watch. Just if it's new to you or you're trying to see what I did, then it's going to give you an idea. But I do plan on having more videos like this on this channel in 2026 because I really love options. Like I said, I made over 100K from options and I definitely want to share that information. So here I'm talking about calls and puts. I need to add that to the playlist, and then there's some other stuff too. But oh, here's another options trade. So anyway, so you can just go ahead and look through these videos. Start with the playlist. I'm going to update it actually right after I film this video because I realized that I need to add some. But basically, then I also bought stocks, regular boring stocks. And the one thing that I really like about stocks, especially for companies that I really, really liked, was I don't know if you remember, but back in what was that, like March 25, the market just like went down so much. And like the market was like this, and then it just went straight down. So like that was really, well, it was a crazy time, but it was interesting for me as a trader because I was able to take advantage of a lot of those stocks. So there had been maybe a list of 25 companies that I was looking at prior to that that I wanted to get in, but I couldn't quite afford it. So the thing that I did is I waited for a major event. Oh, this is really fat. Let me change that. I waited for a major event, and what I did there was I kept buying the dip. So you hear this, buy the dip. And what does that actually mean? Basically, for me, it means like, let's just say, for instance, if XZ company that I like, I was gonna say XYZ company that I like, if the price is trading at $100, and I'm like, ooh, that's a little expensive for me, but if that price is reduced by 10%, making it $90, then I'm like, ooh, that's a dip. Let me go ahead and buy the dip. So that's what I did for a lot of these companies when it would go down 10%, and sometimes some of these companies would go down 20%. So when a company goes down by 20%, generally that means that that market is in a bear market. And usually, I mean, I don't just buy it blindly, but I do look at that company if it's a strong company and you have some sort of event like the things we saw in early 2025 with the whole tariff talks and all of that. I was seeing very strong companies that I was looking at for months and sometimes years where I wanted to add to my position, and I did. And AXP, not financial advice, was one of those companies that I did add to my position. I can't remember how many shares I bought. I want to say I bought like 25 shares, but then I was also buying like 20 shares in an Nvidia. What else did I buy? Oh, I bought some Palantir. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. Let's just put it that way. I remember having about, let's just say, it was like $22,000 of cash just sitting on the side, because I like to have a pile of cash inside of my big account just in case something like that does happen, and it did. So I had 22K that I've been stacking up for months, months and months and months. And finally, I was able to take advantage of the opportunity that was there. I even borrowed some money from my broker to be able to buy more stuff. Now, definitely not a recommendation, especially if you're new and you're just getting started. It's going to be something that is going to be a little bit stressful, because when you borrow money from your broker, it's like taking out a loan. So, and they use the stocks that you already have as collateral. So basically, if you get margin called, make sure I'm showing you margin called. It's not a fun thing. Basically, you need to pay them their money within a certain amount of time. Usually it's less than a day. And if you don't pay the money, then they're just going to start liquidating or selling out your shares until they get their money. And they pick which ones they want to sell. So if there is like, let's just say if you got 100 shares of XYZ company, you really want to hold on to that, they could choose that to liquidate, and then poof, they're gone, because they want to get their money. So so I don't want that for you, which is why I'm putting this caveat in here. And I got margin called once, like, was that 4 years ago? And it was super scary. I owed them $3,000. I went to my savings. Yeah, I had like money in my savings account. Moved that money in ASAP so that way they didn't start liquidating the shares that I had, because I did not want that to happen. So I don't want that for you. That is why I'm saying this. So anyway, so like I said, I took advantage. I bought the dip with regular stocks. I also bought the dip with some options. And then once the markets recovered, like basically, like I was just printing money. And I don't want you to think that you have to wait for some event like that to happen. I've seen this cycle happen multiple times. Other traders will tell you that as well. They've seen the different cycles that have happened. But after that, I had a nice little cushion of money where I can put that money into other options, like, option one, option two, can't draw right now, option three. So, like, all these different ones. And then those also print money as well, because as a trader, um, I know, and then some print it more than others. Let's just put this one as four, this one was one, this one was two. So, and some print it more money than others, but it was because I had the skills, because I gained the extra capital from the stocks. I'm holding on to the stocks. I'm not touching those. But from the options contracts during that time as well, I was able to basically, like, take this money and make more money, and then take that and make more money, and then take that and make, let's just make this the 100K more money. So that's how that works. Basically just taking the money to make more money, to make more money, to make more money. And then that's how you see these people with these super large accounts. And even just think about it, like, Warren Buffett, favorite person, love him. But basically, um, when it comes to how like he made his money, it was a whole bunch of other things. Don't I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but it was basically taking the money that he had to make more money and just letting that compound over decades, decades and decades. And I was doing some research, and I think his actual like personal net worth is only about 600 million, but BRK, Berkshire Hathaway, is like, he has like 100, and let's just say like 136 billion in that, because most of his like net worth is tied up in here. His personal is only like this. So pretty much, like, I mean, it's a whole other story, but basically, like, it's taking money to make more money. So that's why, let me sum this up, because I've been talking for a while, but I hope this was entertaining and informational for you, because like, this was a whole year of me just kind of looking at the markets and analyzing. But in order to make this actionable for you today, I want you to apply these steps. So one thing that I started off with is basically focus on one market. One market. I know it's tempting to jump from gold to silver to Tesla or whatever else, not financial advice, just examples, but to run to all these things because you see that they're popular. But it's really cool when you focus on just one market, because then you get really good at that market, and then you can take that money and make more money in different markets. So that's exactly what I did. So another thing I did was define. Actually, let me write this down. So what needs to happen before you trade? And that for me looks like, what's the price? Is it at a key level? Another thing for me, let's see, price, key level. Those are pretty much the biggest things. It could be like a market event, like we saw, like tariffs. Let's see. Okay, anyway, so like we saw with the tariffs, so that was something. So what needs to happen in order for you to take actions out of the market? Those are things that I thought about as well. And then one of the biggest things I don't want you to forget about is, how much are you risking? This keeps hitting my mic. It's kind of annoying. Like, how much money? So, for instance, for some of the trades, I told myself I didn't want to risk, or actually, I wanted to risk less than 2,000 per, or actually, did I do that right? I think I did that wrong. But anyway, I wanted to risk less than 2,000 in the market for maybe one options contract. Others, it was like $1,000. So sometimes it was up to, I had one trade, Goldman Sachs was a little scary. I was risking $9,000 on that trade, and it kept doing some crazy stuff. It was like, okay, I entered a trade, okay, go up, and then it did this, and then it shot up, and then I'm like selling, and then it did this, and then it shot up some more. That's just the nature of the market. But basically, I was able to get out of that position with about was it like a 33 roughly percent gain. So that's awesome. You definitely just want to take as much money out of the market as possible. So that's going to be one of the biggest things. So anyway, I want to sum this up with, trading is best when you don't force the outcomes, when you find a way to make it work with your real life. And I talked about this earlier. For me, at different seasons of my life, depending on the job and all these different things, I had time to trade in the morning. Other times it was in the evening, basically just planning, figuring out what price I wanted to enter, what market I wanted to trade. And then other times it was doing all my planning on the weekend because I really did not have the time. I remember sometimes just like traveling a lot. staying in hotels and going to conferences and stuff. And that sounds cool. It was, don't get me wrong, but I was exhausted. And then flying across country from California to like the DC, that's 6.5 hours. That's a lot. So I didn't really have a lot of time during the day in order to look at the markets, and sometimes not even in the evenings. Other times it was just looking at it on the weekends. So you have to figure out for you what is going to work the best. And another thing is basically just what else worked? Like I said, just constantly, just like not constantly, but looking at the market in a sense of waiting for the opportunity to appear. I know sometimes, at least for me, and I know for some of you, maybe even you, where it may be tempting to enter into the market because you're ready to make some money. And I know that, but you have a higher probability of making more money when you wait for the right conditions. And like I said before, going back up here, it's going to be a number of different things. I think it was on the other screen, but basically waiting for the right conditions in terms of, oh, here we go. In terms of price, having the right price, maybe looking at a key level. If you don't know how to chart, I have a gazillion videos on on this channel that you could watch to learn how to chart. And different market events. Now, these don't happen all the time, thankfully, but it could be a really cool opportunity for you to make some money. I once heard of this story of this guy back in 2022 where he took roughly, how much did he have? Uh, I want to say he had like 100K. Now that sounds like a lot. He was trading before, so he wasn't brand new. But basically, took 100K, turned that into almost 1 million by trading options during that time because there was so much fear in the market. That is a market event. And he also had to have key levels and know a price. And then also this other thing, risk. So it's just having all of these pieces together in order to make this work for you. You have to figure that out. If you really want it, you have to make it work for you. And the Profitable Traders Academy is going to be the best place for you. You can see the website up here. It's not showing up perfectly on my iPad, but you can see the website. It's LaKieshaTrades.com. That's going to help you out a lot. And this is something that you need to sign up for if you want help applying all these different things in real time. People in the program have made literally tens of thousands of dollars in a relatively short amount of time. Now, their experience is going to be different from probably yours. Maybe you do better, but I just want to set the expectation. But if you're looking to apply all of this in real time, the Profitable Traders Academy is going to be the best for you. So go to LaKieshaTrades.com and watch that. And also, if this video helped you, I know it was a little bit longer, then go ahead and comment the word focus in the comment section below, because I want you to focus on um, just one market in the beginning, and then you can expand. So it's one market now, not forever. And then also learn more about options. Go ahead and check out this options playlist that I have on my YouTube channel. So that way you can go ahead and learn how to trade options. I have so many other videos and playlists. Go ahead and watch that. But this is going to be the next best step for you for sure, because it's going to give you more insight as to how I trade options and how I'm able to take those trades without just sitting in front of the charts all day, because I do not have time. And the fact that you're watching this video tells me that you're somebody who also doesn't have all day to sit in front of the markets as well. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you in the next videos.